Hi and welcome back to our 12 days of Christmas. Today is day 2 and I have a gift idea for you. A gift that you can make for your friends and family. It is a calendar, a desk calendar, and it's shaped like an easel. It's a lot of fun to make. So here's what you'll need to create the project. A calendar sticker sheet called Mini Calendar from SRM Stickers, and it is number 48009. Obviously it's a 2013 calendar. A sticker sheet by Authentic called Festive Elements. Some pearl adhesive by ZVA Creative. Some wood veneer shapes by Studio Calico, and this one is number 331121. These are the little flags. 2 types of flowers by Petaloo. I have the wild roses in orange and the velvet hydrangeas in sage. Tim Holtz Ideology hinge clips, some glossy accents, charcoal black studio paint by Claudine Helmuth, 2 foam brushes, a bone folder, a pair of scissors, some foam adhesive, 4 large eyelets, a crocodile. You'll need some PVA glue, which is bookbinding glue. You'll need a piece of the Rejoice stripe paper from the Rejoice collection by Bobany, and this piece measures 12 by 5 1/4. You'll also need a piece of 12 by 12 wheat cardstock, and out of it you'll cut a piece that measures 4 by 11, and please keep the leftover as well. You'll also need 2 pieces of chipboard that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, as well as 2 smaller pieces, and these are just for guides, so they don't need to be full length. You can just use small pieces like these. From the wood veneer package, I took out this little flag here, and I'm going to paint that with the black acrylic paint. And now you can set this aside to dry. It's now time to build our calendar, and for this I need the pattern paper, and I'm going to turn it over so that the wrong side is facing me. I'll start by placing my 2 large pieces of chipboard, and I'm going to try and keep the same border all around. And then I'm going to take the 2 small pieces of chipboard and wedge them in between those 2 pieces. So now I can work on the alignment so that I have my 2 pieces horizontally aligned. Then I will take a pencil and I'm going to hold on to my pieces of chipboard, and I'm just going to trace around them. I just want to make sure that my pieces are aligned. You should have about 1/2 inch of border around your pieces. So I'm going to trace that. There we go. So now I can remove those 2 pieces of chipboard and the rest. And we'll glue this down. So I have my PVA glue here, and I will put some all over the chipboard, and it's very important to go right up to the edges. And I want a nice even coat. And I will glue this down following the guides that I just traced with the pen. And I will glue the other piece. Here's a trick to perfect mitered corners. I will take my 2 extra pieces of chipboard and I will line them up here at each corner, and I'm just going to trace a line, and I try to line them up at a 45-degree angle. And this is just going to give us some extra piece to fold that in. I'll show you what I mean by that. So now I'm going to grab my scissors. Of course you could eyeball this. So now I've got my corners cut, and I'll take my bone folder and I'll just crease on 4 sides, and this will give us a nice crisp edge. Alright, and I will start by gluing the 2 ends right here. So I'll add more PVA glue. I don't want too much. I mean, I want a good coverage, but I don't want it to spill over. And I'll take my bone folder again and roll that into place. I'll do the same on the other side. Perfect. So I'm going to add glue on one of the long ends here. And before I start gluing it down, I just want to show you, I'm going to take my bone folder and fold in that leftover edge right here. Right here. Do you see that little bit here? So this is going to give you a nice crisp corner. And I'm going to fold that in and bring it in. So now I've got nice clean corners, and now I want to add my cardstock right over this. Again, I want to make sure that I have glue right up until the edges. And now I'm going to center this, but before I actually glue it down all the way, I want to take my bone folder, find the center, and then crease it down the center, and then glue the rest of it. And don't pay attention to my piece. I didn't cut it exactly at 11 inches, so that's why it is not quite centered, but yours will be. And there's our piece. And now that it's dry, I can fold this in total ease, and as you can see, nothing is buckling. And this will give us our easel calendar. So we're going to put this to the side, and now we're going to work on the calendar months. Now I'm working on my calendar, and I have my sheet of 8 by 12 of wheat cardstock and the stickers. I'm going to remove each of these stickers and place them on the cardstock. Now I find this is the easiest way to deal with these little flimsy sticker sheets. So now I'm going to keep on sticking those months side by side like this. So now I'm going to take this to my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim around each month. So these are my cut months, and in case you're wondering, they're 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and what I did is I followed the edges of each of the monthly stickers. And now I'm going to stack them up like this and add one of those Tim Holtz hinge clips to hold them all together. Like this, and I'm going to put this aside because we have more work to do before we add our calendar. So now that now that we have our basic structure for the calendar, I'm going to measure where I want the eyelets, and for this I'm going to turn my my structure over because it's just easier to do on a piece of cardstock. And I want 2 eyelets on each side here, and I want them at 3/4 of an inch from the corners. So I'm going to take my grid ruler. If you have a regular ruler, it is also possible to do that. I'm just going to take my grid ruler by Fiskars because it's just easier. And I'm going to trace a line. I'm lining up my 3/4 of an inch here on the edge of the cardboard or the my calendar, and then I'm just tracing a faint line, and then I'll repeat the same on both sides. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So each of my eyelets, the middle, I will punch a hole at the intersections of these 2 lines. So now I'll punch my holes, and for this I'm going to take my crocodile. And just to make sure that I am at the perfect height, I'm going to set my guide here at the 3/4 of an inch mark. You can see here, this is 1/2 inch, so 3/4 of an inch. And now I'm ready to punch. And if I calculate it correctly, I'm right at my mark. So I've got my 2 holes here, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then I can set my eyelet. Of course, I'm going to be working from the front this time because I want a nice edge showing on the front. Give it a squeeze. Before you go ahead and set your eyelets, why don't you erase your marks? Which I should have done if I had thought about it. So it's now time to decide of the placement of our elements on the calendar. And before I go ahead and do that, I want to stick the numbers on our white, I want to stick the numbers on our black flag. And I'll just take 2013. I'm going to start probably by the 1 and 0, just to see, just to align it properly. Just going to place them like that, and then I'll play with the placement. We're not done with this piece because we're going to add glossy accents, but we'll wait until the end after everything is glued down. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to remove the flourish. And I always like to leave parts of it on the sheet just so I don't have to fight with it. And that way it's much easier. You don't have the whole piece in your hand, and it's easier to manipulate. So that's what it looks like. Just thought of something. Because we're going to glue our calendar down, I cut an extra piece of wheat cardstock, and it also measures 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, so it's the exact dimension of our calendar, so that when I glue everything down, the last piece that is glued down is actually a blank piece of cardstock and not the month of December. Because if you want to reuse this for the next year, you are left with all your pieces of let's say you're down to the month of December. If you need to replace the calendar for the 2014, you would have to rip this part off of your calendar, and you don't want to do that. So that way, by having a blank piece of cardstock, this will always be permanent. So I'm going to go ahead and add that last piece to the back here, and I'm going to pinch all of the pieces with the clip, and now I can start adding the foam adhesive to the back of this. Now I will have to double up, even triple up probably, my foam adhesive, just because the clip adds quite a bit of thickness to that piece. So I'm just going to see by doubling up if it's enough. If not, I will add a third layer. Of course, if you have thicker foam adhesive, now would be a good time to use them. So I gauged, and I thought that 2 was enough, and what I did actually is I put it down here on my non-stick sheet, and I can tell that everything is kind of okay, like the height is fine. So as you can see, I have just 2 thickness of foam dots, and hopefully these pearls won't make much of a difference. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a good press, and now that is secure. Perfect. Okay, so now that I have this in place, I can glue down the flower and the leaves. Okay, so I have revised my process a little bit. I told you that we were going to wait until the end when this is glued down to add the glossy accents, but we need to do this before. The reason is, once everything is put together and our ribbon is actually wrapped around this, our easel is going to stand like this. If we add glossy accents, all the glossy accents will fall off that piece, and it needs to lay flat on a surface for it to dry evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I am going to let it dry completely. There we go. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'll make sure that it's not going to be touched or anything. So I decided to add another flower to the back of it, just above the ribbon. We're going to do a bow. I'm going to go ahead and add the leaves with the glossy accents. And I know more or less where I want the flower to be. And I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then we're going to come back to tie the ribbon. I'm going to put both ends through the front here. And I'll just adjust the ribbon so that it's nice and flat. And I'm going to flip this around. Now I want to put both ends through the back. So now I want to adjust it the way I want it to. And I'm going to tie a knot in the back. and make a bow. And you can play with your bow the way you want it to. So I'm pretty much satisfied with that bow, and now I'm just going to trim the ends. And there's the back, and there's the front. My little flag is almost dry, so I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto the front here. And then add it to the front. Now before you do this, make sure that your piece is completely dry or close to. Just make sure that it's not going to, the liquid's not going to bunch up at the bottom, because it's going to stand up like that. But there it is! How cute! And there it is. How cute is that? I really like this. Now it's funny because this paper is actually part of the Christmas collection, but I didn't want to make it a Christmas themed calendar, obviously, because this is going to be sitting on the person's desk year round. But just to show you, sometimes you have to look at things in a different way. Also, the letter stickers or the number stickers that I used is also part of a Christmas collection by Authentique. So lots of Christmas accents, but it really doesn't look as if it's a Christmas project. And I also like the back. It finishes it up really nicely, and I love that ribbon. I don't know if you can see the shimmer on this ribbon. It's sparkly. It's so pretty. So this concludes day 2 of our 12 days, and I've had a lot of fun putting this together, so I hope that you've enjoyed the video. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll be back tomorrow with day 3, and tomorrow we're doing a special tag, so hope that you'll come back for that. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, as usual, leave them below. Thank you for watching, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye! Oh, and I forgot, pay attention to your email box or our blog, because Natalie just announced her 12 days of sales, so you don't want to miss that. So which means that every day starting from Wednesday, which is tomorrow, December 5th, for the next 12 days after that, there's going to be a sale every single day. So don't miss that. So make sure that you check your emails and on our blog and Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.